Bayview Podcast with hosts Andrew Clark and Chris Emery. This is designed to be a discussion on all things life and faith. We hope this serves as a weekly resource and encouragement to you.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Bayview Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Andrew, joined, as always, by Mr. Chris Emery.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Bayview Podcast. Good to have you with us today. Good to be here. Yeah, man.
Yeah, good days.
Big week, big weekend. We got a big men's event this weekend here at Bayview, and gearing up for that.
Yeah,
so,
should be fun.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty special time, so I'm excited to get together with a bunch of our dudes, like a lot of guys.
Yeah, that's going to be cool.
So I think it's going to be pretty
Eat
awesome.
steak and hang out. And
You can't go wrong. We got steak, golf simulator, cards. I mean, a lot of good dude stuff. Yeah,
trying to connect.
I think that's a big deal. There's a lot of names on there I don't know, so I'm excited to meet some of these guys and hang out. Yeah. So anyway, if you're a listener and you're coming to Man Up, it's a win-win.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're not coming to Man Up, but you're just a listener, it's still a win because you're listening. To Chris and Andrew.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, man. So, no, it's good. We are gearing up, and we'll be excited. We actually have a guest speaker this coming weekend, so he'll be on next week's podcast as well. So we'll have some good time with him, Nate Kingsbury. But yeah, we're kind of digging through this wilderness series, man. It's going fast.
Yeah, what do we got? 2 weeks left, basically. I mean, Easter's in the middle, but
yeah, Easter's kind of smack dab in the middle. So yeah, we do actually. That's crazy.
Yeah,
we got this coming. Yeah.
It's gone good.
So it has been, man. It's been so good. Just I think for all of us, I know I've had multiple conversations with the individuals just talking how the concept of the wilderness and the topics we've covered has just resonated so well with them.
Yeah.
And just pushing all of us really to dig deep and to really seek more of God's presence in the midst of these wilderness situations. Yeah,
I really hope, we said it from the very beginning, but I hope it's rang true for people, like just kind of a tools for the toolbox type message. And we've not really, it's more of a topical message series, so it's not, we're going like verse by verse or book by book. It's kind of just like the whole experience altogether.
Yeah.
And covering just a lot of different things, because I think the wilderness looks different for all people.
I think so.
But there's many different wilderness to begin with. I think you talked about being in the desert this week, and there's the idea of we, up here in northern Michigan, we picture the woods, but man, I think even when they're out in the water and the ship's going crazy in the storm, it's like that's a wilderness type experience, like just that
very much
that sensation. And so I hope it's been good for people to, if anything, just kind of process through things. Sometimes it's good just to name things, like, oh yeah, that's what that was when I was just kind of down and out for a minute. Like that's that wilderness experience I went to. And I think even like this week, just talking about the fact that God's going to find you.
Right.
And I think like we started from day one about being in his presence and the reminder of like he is present even in our wilderness. So that was kind of that foundational setting of like, don't worry. You're going to feel like you're going through it, but he's right there going through it with you. And I think this week was just such a good reminder of that, of just like, no, he's going to find you. Like this isn't just he's around watching, he's let you go lost. Like he's coming. Yeah. And so just, it's kind of a cool, just continuation of what the series has been.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was just really a great, if definitely one of those moments as we looked, and the story that we used was out of 1 Kings story of Elijah just after he has this incredible victory over the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel. Like big moment, right? Huge moment. Kills all the prophets of Baal, and then he gets a message from Jezebel, King Ahab's wife, who she's really the one in charge because Ahab's a little bit of a weak man. Yeah. And she says, I'm going to kill you, basically. Like, hey, if by tomorrow this time you're not dead, God's need to kill me because that's coming. So in such a weird but yet relatable moment, we see Elijah come off a mountaintop experience, an incredible victory, and then instantly be struck with fear and uncertainty. And he runs, literally runs into the wilderness. And it's in that moment that now I think we see feelings as we talk more about figuratively being lost versus literally being lost, which we probably all have our own literal lost stories.
Yep.
But the same feelings are so relatable, and that is, afraid, alone, aimless, purposeless, overwhelmed, confused. I mean, and then so I started thinking through all the different type of circumstances, life circumstances. Man, it's like at any moment we could feel this feeling. We could get that lostness. I think. Yeah. And I think that was so good about, because even Elijah had that, right? He said, "I'm afraid, I'm useless, kill me, I'm no better than everybody else, I'm the only one left." So a lot of self-loathing, a lot of poor me, and a lot of whining, maybe, I don't know. Yeah. But I think the cool thing is that we see the gentle, loving, yet powerful response of God in that story. And I think that's for us. I think that's where the power of that story comes in. I think that's where we wanted to kind of really take away Sunday, was not trying to convince us all that there's times where we feel lost, because I'm sure there have been times where we've all felt that, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think even like you saying, just like the idea of like the confusion and just like that reality of when it sets in of like, I don't know where I'm at. Like, I don't like that. Yeah, I am lost. Yeah. It's like, I don't know how many times I've felt that, where it is just this like stunning realization. And sometimes it's like, oh, if you name it, like, you'll feel better. It's no, naming that you're lost kind of is like just accepting that, like, it's over. Like, I don't know what to do. And so, I think we see with Elijah, like, you're right. He's such a good story of like that wilderness experience that can come after the mountaintop. Yeah. And it's like, it's so dramatic and so quick. And it's almost like, I picture growing up and doing mission trips. It's always like that week after you get back from the mission trip, and you're just like, well, I still want to sleep in my sleeping bag on the floor, and I'm still going to eat like ramen, and I gotta do everything I can to keep the feeling. Yeah. And now being in just thinking from a student spot, I'm like, I just think of all this different interactions, like post camp, post things with students who are just like, I feel so blah. I feel like I'm just wandering. It's just like, it's if you're not, I think it sneaks up on us. Like, if we're not kind of locked in, how quickly that mountain can get flipped upside down and be a valley all of a sudden. And
I think it's almost inevitable, right? I mean, because you've done youth ministry a long time. I did youth ministry a long time. And I know within that realm, we would always talk about how do we help students take home the camp experience and the commitments. And, because we know they're getting home, there is going to be this crash, or there's going to be this coming down off the mountain. I mean, and that terminology is so applicable, because it's literally what we see happening with Moses and God. Moses goes up the mountain, he's with God. He goes down the mountain, people are a mess. He goes up the mountain, gets the 10 Commandments, come down the mountain. It's like up, down, and that is exactly how life goes. And it's in those post-mountaintop experiences, I think, where people just, they feel lost. And when we feel lost, I think there's the potential and the tendency even to now just begin to live this wandering, aimless, rather purposeless life. And I think a lot of people resign themselves to, well, this is just who I am, or what it's going to be. Is that I'm just going to wander, I'm going to feel this forever. And I'm not saying that all of us are destined to be like, celebrities or famous or powerful. I'm not saying that, but I am fully convinced that as we read through the Bible, that every single one of us is created with a distinct purpose. And we serve a purpose in the kingdom mission of sharing the good news of the gospel. So right there's your purpose. I have a good friend who, but we haven't connected in a while, but his name's David Canan, and I see his stuff on social media from time to time. Pastors a great church out in South Dakota, I believe. But I recently saw a message from him online, and he was kind of like, okay, so you're here today, you want to know your purpose, you're searching for your purpose, you feel lost, you feel aimless. You're taking all these tests, trying to find out what your Enneagram is, and find out this, and he goes on and on. He goes, okay, here you go, I've got it for you. I've discovered your purpose. Here's your purpose: to love Jesus and share about Jesus. That's your purpose. There you go. You have a purpose. It's to work for the kingdom and to tell as many people as you can about Jesus Christ and the love you have felt and the love he wants to give them. And it's like all of a sudden when we begin to look through that filter, it may be, I don't know, you've heard it. I'm sure you've heard. I've heard it. How many times you've heard somebody say like, "Well, right now I'm just trying to find myself."
Yeah. Just that season of life, which
Yeah.
I think that life is in seasons. But yeah,
It
I
does.
think that one
Yeah, it
specifically was
does.
like, I'm just figuring it out. It's like,
Yeah.
what does that mean?
Yeah. Hey, people take gap years after school. I
Mhm.
mean, I get all those things.
Yeah.
But we're not destined to stay lost.
Yeah, because there's a difference between like intentionality and apathy.
Yeah, it's a good call.
Like
Yeah.
I think a gap year that's intentional to actually like figure it out, not spend the money, blah blah blah. Like you can, but there's intentionality of like, but I am gonna go to
Yeah.
school, or I am gonna do blah, fill in the blank. But I feel like when it's just that idea of like, I'm just doing me for a minute, and it's like, what do you mean by that? Like, what's the intentionality behind that? Or is it just the desire of like, I don't want to try? Where again, I'm just thinking through like, we're working through some IM statements with the students leading up to Easter, and just the big one is where Jesus says, "I am the way, the truth, and the light." But that whole conversation is surrounded with the disciples asking him, "What do we do?" Right? Jesus is leaving. He's explained so much to them of like, "Hey, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
Just preparing you." And their questions are all like, "What do we do? What do you mean you're the way? Like, how do we follow? Blah blah blah." And it's really this like push from Jesus, and this is what we were sharing recently, even before recording this, sharing with the students of just like, it's a call to change, but change your perspective, change your life to that of like fully following Jesus. He's laid it out. He said, love God, love people, do it in my name. Like that is the call. That's the purpose, like you just said. So go do it. And it's so interesting how like so often we know that, but that doesn't sound fun. That doesn't sound good. Doesn't make me feel fulfilled. And instead of it being this like, I can't, it's just like, I just don't want to.
Yeah. And I think we confuse maybe what the great purpose is, what our great being found really is, I guess, because, we look at more of our worldly purposes. And so is my purpose to be successful? Is my purpose to get married? Is my purpose to have a lot of friends or have a lot of stuff? Whatever that is. And those may be things that happen as God guides and directs your life, but that's not your purpose.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge dichotomy of words you use for intentionality versus apathy, because sadly, and I mean, let's just be real, I would say I would have to classify a large chunk of Christians as apathetic Christians.
Yeah.
Because they're not out there sharing the gospel.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that by the stats, Pew Research, Barna Research, everybody that does research.
Yep.
It's an alarmingly low number of people that ever actually talk about their faith. And we're not saying go out there and give your theological dissertation. I'm saying tell your Jesus story. Why aren't you telling your Jesus story?
Yeah.
You found Jesus. He forgave you. You're a new person. That's a radical difference in your life. You should be excited about that. Why are you not telling people?
Yeah.
And I'm not even saying go knock on the doors and ask somebody if you died today or you go to heaven, or can I talk to you about Jesus? I'm saying the people in your life that you love, that you know, that you care about, why have you not told them about Jesus?
Yeah. Yeah, it's the doing versus being. Like being a believer means that's your life. The doing side of things, I always look at it as like, well, yeah, if you view it all as a works base, I kind of have to slog through this another day, another dollar type mentality.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Very few of us love our jobs.
Yeah.
And we find ourselves in a season of just being like, here we go again.
Yeah.
And it's when you view it that way, then I think you're missing it. And that call to just live it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not you're not in charge of saving people. You're not in charge, like you're not responsible for blah, 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 but you are responsible to the call of to love God and love people, meaning they should probably know what you're about.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And that's where it just enters into your everyday existence, your everyday life, like you talked about. One of my worst experiences with it was back when I was in youth group, and I can't remember what grade I was in, but I had a youth pastor, and I know his intent was really great, but he really wanted to push us all into sharing our faith. But he took a group of us to the mall, and he's like, all right, we're just going to go randomly walk up to people and ask them if they know Jesus and start a conversation. And I'm like, not only was it terrifying, it didn't feel right. Like I was like, this is awkward. We turned off way more people than we turned on to hear what we had to share. And again, not saying, if you've done that works, again, I'm not putting a absolute on it, but I'm just saying that that's not how I've seen it go. Like it goes when I and that's not how we see Jesus do it, right? He's in their lives. He's listening about their lives. Even when he first meets them, he asks a lot of questions and tell me about who you are. He already knows, but tell me. And I think it is that everyday existence. Yep. And I have to imagine that if any of us who are feeling lost and we're feeling aimless and we've got all these questions, if in the middle of that wilderness we embrace this primary purpose of to be ambassadors of this love of Jesus Christ, I have to believe that the lostness is going to feel a lot less lost.
Yeah.
I'm not saying God's going to give you all the answers right away, but I have to believe you're going to feel something inside that is at peace. Your soul is now fulfilling its purpose.
Yeah.
And your soul is designed just to serve the Lord. That's it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So I get it. There are times where and we've talked about this. Loss can be a lot of things. I mean, we have people in our lives right now that are lost because there's tons of uncertainty in regards to health and sickness and disease. There's people who are lost because they're grinding through early days of grief and loss, and that's so difficult. There's people who are lost because they feel so alone, and they don't have. Those are all real feelings. By no means am I downplaying any of that. I'm just saying that it doesn't mean you stay lost. It doesn't mean, and this is where this came so powerfully in. It doesn't mean God doesn't know right where you are.
Yeah, 100%.
And as we looked at the story of Elijah, we see that God comes. He finds Elijah, who is asleep under a tree, under a broom tree, which is a canopy tree. That's the reason they distinguish what it is, just to give us an idea. And he finds him. He feeds him with hot bread and a jar of water. I just love that. Every time I read that, I'm like, that's so above and beyond what he's even done in other times. Like the Israelites, like we got manna, we had flaky manna and water from a rock, and and then they had quail, too much quail. Yeah, and I don't know. I think God really showing off. I almost picture like a doily, like what you'd find at grandma's house. But he feeds him. He finds him. He feeds him. He encourages him. He strengthens him. But then what's right on the heels of all that? A long journey. Yeah. It wasn't like, all right, you're good. Let's go vacation. No, it's like, you need this. This journey's going to be long. He says, like, you got to eat some more because this is going to be tough. Yeah. And I think for some of us, it's almost like, okay, thank you, God, for finding me. Thank you for strengthening me. Thank you for feeding me. Thank you for encouraging me. Thank you for letting me know that there's a lot more grinding to go through.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's where I think you say it, I say it. I know we say this a lot here at Bayview, that when we're presenting the first step of the gospel of asking Jesus Christ into your life, Jesus is not going to come into your life and just fix your life. It's not the magic formula that just fixes all your problems. Yeah. It just changes your life. Yeah. And now, as we see in the story, you don't go through the wilderness without his strength, without his nourishment, without his sustaining power and presence. So I don't know, I think it's just such a great story that we see that we can all relate to it.
Yeah. No, 100%. The fact that he's provided for it is the reminder that God is present with you, and he will find you. And I always think of like the shepherd who goes and finds the lost sheep. Yeah. And just that mentality of this isn't, I don't know. I love that God's not just dismissive of it. Like, oh, lost again? Idiot. And like that he just blows it off. It's like, okay, I got to go get him. Yeah, and it's done. And he does it. And I think that's just like, there's like a peace that's part of that, of just knowing like, okay, this is going to get confusing for a minute, right? Maybe I am going to wander for a minute. Or like in Elijah, he's taken care of, but still has the 40 days in the wilderness of running, basically. So there's still that connection there of like, it might not be instantaneous, but he is there, and to take comfort and peace in that. Yeah.
I used this illustration Sunday, and the more I thought about it even afterwards, I was like, that's how I like to see it play out. And I talked about the movie Home Alone. Whereas, obviously the bulk of the story is about Kevin and fending off Joe Pesci and the thieves. And I mean, that's the fun part of the story. But the secondary story is his mom's relentless pursuit to find him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you go back and watch the movie, which you should do every Christmas, it's one of our Christmas regulars. Yep. You see this mom who, once she realizes one of the kids is lost, it's not that she doesn't love the other 8, 10, I don't know how many that. I know there's a bunch of crazy kids. She loves them, but they're fine. They're safe. I'm going to move heaven and earth. I'm going to make every sacrifice. I'm going to do whatever it possibly takes to go find the one that is lost right now. Mm. And I think it's just a beautiful image of God's pursuit of us. Mm. I think oftentimes, I've felt this. I don't know if you've felt this. I think there's times where in my feelings like what Elijah, my own self-loathing or my own self-pity, I think I feel lost, and somewhere deep down, I'm curious if God is just happier that I'm not around. Mm. Like good. He's been frustrating me for years. I'm so done with Chris. He has tested my patience.
It's that thought of like God being dismissive, that he's just blowing it off.
Yeah.
And I feel that. And like that's, I know when my dad passed and there was just some of that turmoil around there was this sense of like, what is going on? Mm-hmm. Like, why? And some of it was that feeling of like, it wasn't a lot of it, but there was that thought of like at one point of like, God, what are you doing? Do you care? Like, what's the thought here?
Absolutely.
Let me in on the plan a little bit. Can you reveal something? And so, I think that's a really real feeling. It's just nice knowing it's not how it goes.
Yeah.
Not the case.
Yeah. And I think, again, it's when we shift our eyes away from what we think is just this earthly purpose, and we ask ourselves, what is the bigger purpose of what we're called to? Mm. We talked a couple weeks ago about what is God's ultimate agenda. Yeah. And he does say he'll take care of us. He does say, don't worry, I take care of the birds, I'll take care of you. He does say, I'll give you strength. I'll give you peace beyond understanding, joy in every circumstance. I'll give you all of these things. I promise these things to you. Yeah. But he never promises to say, hey, I'm going to make your life easy. I'm going to take all the suffering and out of your path. There will be no sickness, no tragedy out of your path. That's not the story. Not only the story of the gospel, that's not even the story of Jesus. Mm. Yeah. I mean, Jesus was not without suffering. Jesus was not without pain. He was not without loss. He was not without betrayal. Mm-hmm. He was not without temptation. I mean, you name it, of what we go through, Jesus experienced it to show us the way. Mm. And, that's the danger right now of this health and wealth gospel out there, this prosperity gospel that sounds so appealing and attractive. Mm-hmm. And, have enough faith, and he'll give you all the blessings you can imagine, and he wants everybody to be rich and wealthy, and it's just garbage. Yeah. It's just garbage. Sorry, sidetrack.
It's true.
Sidetrack. But if we just, even through the midst of our wilderness, I think we know God's with us. We know he'll find us. Yeah. And even the path ahead is another 40 days and 40 nights. Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, because even the guy providing for the Israelites, they still had to do that for 40 years. Yeah. But he provided for 40 years. Mm-hmm. And I think that's always like a cool reminder. And we'll kind of wrap the series up talking about like after the wilderness. And part of it is like, are you keeping note? Are you taking note of like how God provided in that space to prepare you and remind you that whenever this happens again, that you're going to be okay. Yeah. Yeah. And there's a part of Moses' story where it's almost like he forgets that a little bit, and without getting too far ahead. And it's just like that reminder of just like, he's in it. He's been in it before. He'll be in it again. And, I don't know. It's cool. I think I love that the stories aren't sugar-coated in the Bible.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I love that Elijah wasn't fed and Jezebel was just instantaneously killed in that moment. And then God made him a big meal and said, hey, take a nap. It was more or less, no, prepare. We got to go. There's still part of this to go. Or again, here, Israelites, here's some food. Be prepared. We got to, like, there's this thought of there's a plan behind everything, and depending on how we view it and what we take from it, it can be really, really good.
100%. And I think if we view, like we talk about the Israelites a lot, and of course going back into Exodus and Deuteronomy and Numbers and just all the different moments, I think it's such a beautiful precursor to how the greater story plays out, because here you have God's people and they're wandering for 40 days and 40 nights, and he provides for them, and there's big moments throughout that time, but it's always with the ultimate destination of the promised land kind of as the ultimate destination. And at no point in their wandering did they ever lose sight of that. Like, listen, we know this is tough. We know, God provided now and protected us, all these things. But ultimately, at some point, we're going to end up in the promised land. That's the goal. That's the destination. We'll get through all this because this is temporary. Yeah. Their temporary was 40 years, which is a long time. Yeah. But if we kind of look at that as like, okay, there's a short-term example of our life, and that is that we're wandering in this wilderness for 80 to 90 years, if we're lucky, right? Depending on how many trips to Chick-fil-A we make. 80, 90 years, and we're wandering, and we see God come through. We see God strengthen us. We go through valleys, we go through loss, we have victories. All these things are happening, but at no point are any of these places the destination, because like the Israelites in the promised land, our promise is eternity. Our promise is the next section of this, and that's in heaven with him, ultimately back here on the new earth with him. But I think that for me, that helps me see it differently. Of like, wow, this is tough, but this is all very, very short term comparatively. Yeah. Doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. Doesn't mean it's not scary. Everything Elijah felt, right? Doesn't mean that. Yeah. But I think it does address our lost moments. Yeah,
100%.
A lot.
100%.
Yeah. I'm always drawn back to the story of the ascension after Jesus has come back. There's been the transfiguration. He's appeared to the disciples. He's appeared to people. They've had breakfast with them, all this. And now the time it comes for Jesus to be taken to heaven. And it's the first chapter of Acts. And, he gives them that final call to go and baptize. They'll be baptized with the Holy Spirit. He says, go in all the world, all that stuff. And then he's taken up and into heaven. But then we see this really funny, no, that's not the right word, this classic scene, because this would be me, where Jesus is now gone. Yep. He's gone. He's coming back. They don't know when. They thought it was going to be pretty quick. They didn't know if he's just stepping out for a minute. And then all of a sudden there's an angel there, and the angel asks this great question of like, what are you doing? Yeah. Like, why are you guys just standing there looking up? Like, I want to see him. I want to almost imagine he's almost like, what's wrong with you? He gave you a job to do. What are you doing? Yeah. Like he gave, like, why are you waiting? Like, let's go. And I think a lot of us might be in some way, shape, or form, like, feel lost, but reality is we're probably just standing there with our heads tilted back, looking up. Yeah.
Yeah, like in a holding pattern. Yeah. And you weren't asked to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Curious question would be maybe this. How many people who feel lost actually probably know exactly what the next step is? Yeah. Maybe too afraid.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like sometimes I think we're on the right path, and all of a sudden we stop and say, could it be this way? Yeah. And there's no path there. It's just like we like you said, we just kind of wait for it. And we're seeing like maybe instead of just taking the next step.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I hope that this wilderness series for all of us, for all of our listeners, everyone who attends Bayview, I hope it's been a good time of just being reminded of God's faithfulness, his promises, the purpose behind the wilderness at times. Yeah. I don't think any time have we given them 12 steps to leave your wilderness. Yeah. I don't think that's coming, is it?
I think so.
You don't. That's not the final message.
That wasn't the final message, but I guess I could make something up.
Pay $49.95 and you'll be found. I just think that this is part of the journey. Yeah. This is part of it, is that we go through these seasons, and there are mountaintop experiences. Enjoy them. Yeah. Celebrate. give him all the glory for those moments. But just be ready. Don't be surprised, because it's nearly inevitable that after a mountaintop comes another valley. Yeah. And in those moments, I talked Sunday about my lost cat and me going to find that dumb cat. And oddly enough, he was in a valley. He was down in a valley, lost and hidden and crying. And the cat I never wanted, I ran through briars and thorns and sticks and leaves and everything. I was going to find that cat. Mm-hmm. I was going to find that cat and I was going to bring him home.
That's too good.
And I think of that, like God, that's God's pursuit of us. Like we can run wildly, panicky, afraid, whatever, into the wilderness. He's going to come get you. He's going to find you. He's probably right on your heels. Yeah. And when he gets you, he's going to grab you. He's going to pull you in close. He's going to hold you tight. And he's going to remind you, like, hey, I got you. We're going to be okay. It's all better now. And I need that time. I need that at times. At times I need to be reminded that, no, we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to be okay because God's got me.
Yeah, I feel that.
So, cool. Hey, we're excited to keep going with this. Let me put an Easter plug out there. We're excited. Easter's coming up a week from Sunday, April 20th. We also have a Good Friday service here at Bayview. So if you're in the area, Good Friday worship experience. I'm pretty excited about this year. It's going to be pretty cool. Yeah. And that's at 6 p.m. on Good Friday. We do have childcare for ages 0 to 2. And then Easter Sunday, baby, 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., back to back to back.
Let's go.
Yeah, if you can bring yourself to get up and around, I'd recommend one of the earlier services, because that 11 a.m. service, you might be standing.
Might be full.
It might be a little full. Yeah. But it's going to be awesome, man.
For sure.
Big, one of the biggest days of the year, without a doubt.
I'm excited. It's going to be exciting.
Awesome. All right, hey, thanks for being with us today. If you haven't done so, hit subscribe or like whatever platform you're listening on. We're on all the major platforms. That way you never miss an episode. We're here each and every week. And so for now, it's Andrew, it's Chris. We are out of here, and we will see you next time around.